Hello, welcome pen friends. My name is Chris and I'm back with another video. Today it's going to be an ink profile on a very special ink that I got by being a Kickstarter supporter. It was the first time ever I'd ever tried anything like this. The brand is Ferris Wheel Press and the color is Tanzanite Sky. And I just had to kind of lead with how beautiful it came out on the my trying the Nick Stewart technique there on the watercolor paper, because it just astounded me. It's truly the most dramatic result I've had with any other ink, since I started doing this. But and also I don't normally lead with packaging either, but the packaging for this ink is just so gorgeous. It came in a little cardboard holder with their logo, and it just, the ink came inside. Kind of something you could keep. It reminds me a little bit of what my mom's powder used to come in years ago, only it was a different shape. Hi, Willie. My cat just came in. And of course the bottle with this bolt-shaped top is just really impressive. I think the reason I'm leading with the packaging is so you can see why I went for this, and then it has their name on the little pouch, which of course I love pouches. And the ink just goes right in there. So we will move all of this impressive bells and whistles and packaging aside, and we're going to find out, everything about this ink. So let's get started here. All right. We're going to just revert to how I always do things, which is we do a bath test, because we want to find out, how the ink is. Is it typical? Will it disappear in the water? Or will it be more permanent like? It's just a good way to find out. So we'll put that in there. And all I know is I accidentally got a spot on a shirt yesterday and it came right out. So that's all I know so far. I'm having awful inky accidents, but okay, this is off topic for this video, but from the last profile I did in the Viewer's Choice series, just wanted to show you KWZ Green number 5 did typically behave like a regular fountain pen ink, and it's gone. So for my regular viewers, I wanted to show that. Now, we'll let this sit and we'll push it aside, but it'll be right there. We could check in on it. This is my Rhodia goal book. This is where I start. It's my ink journal, and I start with every ink in here. So here it is, and it comes across pretty dark in this book here, and all the way down to here, it's in a broad nib in my Serendipity Hybrid dip fountain pen. And this little piece that's taped in is Tomoya River 52 gram paper. So my first impressions, very first impressions in, having it in a nib, it's just so smooth flowing that it's very noticeable. And I use that same pen all the time. So I use it, and I typically use it with the broad nib. So I'm very well versed in how it feels, and this reminded me right away of Rohrer Klingner Cassia, and that may help some of you in terms of, getting a feel for it. It does come across very dark, which sometimes bothers me. I like bright, and I also like dark, but I don't like an ink to look black. So as I began, that was where I started with it. I looked up the word Tanzanite because I was just trying to make sure I understood, and it said blue and violet. So that makes sense, and we've got some actual chromatography to look at too. But then down here is the medium Genhao. It's in my Genhao X750 with a medium goulet nib. And it darkens just a little, which you can't really see on this, but I think you're going to be able to see on the other paper samples. So when I went down to the medium nib, I was seeing less of the purple. That's all I had to say on that. I didn't mention, okay, I did get it through the Kickstarter. I mentioned that. My price was US $28.45, something like that, just under $30 to support them, and that includes shipping. I mean, that was my cost, and then they just sent the ink as soon as the date came. This was back in November. So I have something I'm going to tape in. I think it's this one I'm going to tape in, so I left room there for that. I also wanted to mention real quick, it's too bad that I didn't realize how nice the pen was, because they were also doing a pen with a little bolt in the middle. Oh, it's just really pretty. But anyway, probably, you know, if I remember right, my budget would only do the one bottle of ink, which is really super that I could do that. So, okay, let's go ahead. I don't want to hang up too long on here. So my little slip that came in there did show it at $38, but it was approximately $28.45 US. So, you know, it says early bird special, 25% off future retail price. Oh, okay. So if I want another color, I guess being a backer is a good, that gave me something. Okay, let's look here next. This is the little notebook, the Nemah Scene notebook from an ink flight. And I like how we are able to see the color so well on this paper. And you can see some of the purple, and you can see how dark it really gets. So if you like that, if you like super dark saturated ink, you know, you're in for a treat, because this is really nice. Okay, right there I had to come back in and write the Boho Berry Challenge with my medium nib. I'd already cleaned up, but this is with the glass nib in the Moonman Mini glass nib pen. And it's just me going through Boho Berry Challenge year-end review, and I just jotted down some new skills that I learned this year. You know, some of them are pretty small, but hey, I'll take it. Okay, and then this notebook, this is the third notebook I wrote in with this ink. And then we've got paper samples. But this will show you broad nib on this side and medium nib on this side. And it's Tomoya River paper in the Nanami Paper Company's Cafe Note. It has a 7mm grid. I really like it. I mean, it's just so smooth that I wouldn't even mind if it was pure black ink. You know, that's how much I like the ink for the quality of it being super flowy and smooth. It makes that super wet Serendipity nib even wetter, and that's, you know, that just blows my mind, because it just doesn't really usually happen except for with some of the inks, like the Rohrer Klingner do that, and some of the Monteverdi inks do. So anyway, I like how it looks. I recognize that certain light you can pick up more of the purple, and right here on this through the camera it's looking pretty dark. But let's go ahead and look at our paper samples. Okay, let's start with Tomoe River paper. This is the one I'm most likely to write letters on for pen pals. And here it is in the broad nib, and then here it is in, that's a mistake, medium. I don't know what I was doing. Some of these I forgot to even label, so I'm going to have to correct that, and my pen is skittered away, so I'll have to correct that later. But I just, you know, I like it on here, and it is dark, but it's just a joy to write with it. It's just a joy to write with. So here's the Leuchtturm 1917 dot grid. And it comes across nice and dark on here. Flows across that paper just fine. Let's see. Now, I've checked on, I don't believe, not even on my cheap paper did it bleed through, which was amazing to me. Here's Clairfontaine 90-gram French ruled. And there it is. Okay, when I shifted onto this paper, it was like, ah! And I don't like writing on Clairfontaine paper. I'll just be honest. It's normally not that great with me, unless it is in that broad nib. Okay, but I mean, it was a noticeable, like, whoa, it just was, I can't help it, I gotta mention it. It just really was nice on there in both of them, especially the broad nib. But there was a noticeable difference, like say from Colorverse to this ink. Let's put it that way. Even Robert Oster to that ink, to this ink. Jeez, okay. Let me calm down. Rhodia dot grid, 80 gram. It was nice on here too. It wasn't that same like drastic difference. I just was happy with it. It was just nice, and I was happy with it. So again, broad nib on the top, medium nib. I don't know what's going on with me that I'm forgetting to label till after. That's going to bite me later. That's going to hurt when I go to check and I haven't labeled it, so I got to get better. Here's the Office Depot College ruled. And okay, I could tell you a lot about this because last night I did 2 whole pages in this process notebook. I'm trying to choose my word of the year for 2019, and I did it with the medium nib with this ink in the Jen Hao, and I didn't want to switch, which I thought, okay, I'll just start it out, and that'll give me a half an hour or so writing with this to see, you know, how it is, and I can say more in my review. Oh, no, I just kept writing with it because it was just so darn smooth. Okay, on their website, they say it's smooth, lubricated, saturated, and low sheen. Well, smooth is the thing that gets to me always, you know, and I suppose having it lubricated is what makes it smooth, but, you know, and then I do like dark ink. Low sheen, I don't care, you know, that doesn't one way or another. But okay, so next, let's look at the color panel. I did an exclusive color panel for this ink, and on our way, we'll just check in. Okay, it's pretty much gone, but there's still some, you know, I can faintly read it at this point, so I'll have to update you when I do my next video on how it came out. Oh, let's keep that here. Okay, well, let's just get right into this. Okay, so I didn't have too many that were, you know, quite like this, but I got down as many as I could find that were similar, and I concluded that in my ink sample collection, the Sailor Sugar was, and I don't know how to say that for sure, but that was kind of the most similar in my opinion. But it's nice to see. Okay, here's another favorite of mine down in the right hand corner, Rohrer Klingner Cassia, and that is nice to see that here. This is brighter. You can see more of the purple. It's also a very smooth writing ink that flows and can actually turn a problem pen into a nice smooth pen, like I'll just say my Conklin Durograph, which I had smoothed, and I still was really unhappy with it. Couldn't pull the nib out, but when I just went ahead and used this ink in it, I was okay. So there's so many variables. Here's one that kind of resembles it in a way, the Diamine Bilberry, and this one, and this one, and this one just came in as generous little samples from a pen friend, so I wouldn't have had them to compare even. And then here's a Diatramentus Aubergine, which is way out of the ballpark, but you may be familiar with that one, and you may be familiar with Diamine Imperial Purple, which will help you just see, you know, how far away it is from that ink. And then, you know, even though this is called Diamine Imperial Blue, it, to me, kind of, it lives in that in that same zone as this ink, where is it blue, is it purple, is it, you know, what is it kind of thing. So okay, so now let's get into the visual journal. I hope this helped a little. I was a little bit frustrated that I thought I'd have more that looked similar to this, and if I do, then my brain was skipping. But on our way to look at the visual journal, let me just show you, this is my first ever chromatography experiment on actual chromatography strips, because they came in the ink journal subscription box. So I had one, and I followed the directions by going to the little website blog they recommended, and this was the line, I don't know if you could see that, where I put the drop and it just traveled. So that's what happened on the chromatography. That's very interesting. I still would prefer, I just prefer the format of putting water down and then putting a drop. But this does show us something different. It shows us that pink and the teal and the darker blue. It shows that, which is very interesting. And I'm not positive I did it 100% right, but I followed the directions best I could. I got a little gizmo here that I made up so that I could hang the strip just right. You know, I mean, I tried. So, but I'm going to try again and make sure I don't overdunk it, because you know, it's the bottom sat in the water just a little. But there was a fine line between, well, it said don't submerge it. So anyway, I'm going to keep working on this. It's new to me. So, okay, so here are two of how it came out. You can see all kinds of, you can see lavender and this bright kind of blue that comes out in the edges. and it has that range to black, basically. I mean, you know, such a dark purple that it becomes almost like black. And then, let's see, where did I put the other? I had, oh my, I'm all over the place today. Gee. Here's one. Okay. So then there was this one, which I thought was really pretty, but every one of them offered something a little different, depending on how much. This showed a lot more saturation, a lot darker. Maybe I didn't have as much water down as here, where you see how the difference. But oh gosh, that was fun. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I forgot to mention, like, I really wanted to say that that this company, this Ferris wheel press, is out of Canada. And let's see, Ontario, Canada. So really cool. I grew up on the Canadian border, and I'm going to link for you the two places that I found. One where it appears you could still pre-order, you know, or order, and it gives like a January date that you would get the ink. But you might want to contact them and just check, you know, being it is so fresh off of the Kickstarter, I'm just not sure what to tell you. But they do have a small YouTube channel, and there's a nice video that you can see with their, you know, with all three of the inks, not just the Tanzanite Sky. The other three. The other one I'm really interested in is I wrote it down and now it's like running away on me. Oh, here it is. It's called Bluegrass Velvet, and it's apparently a blue-green or a teal kind of color. And if anybody wants to trade a sample of the Tanzanite Sky for a sample of the Bluegrass Velvet, I'm in, you know. Especially if you're in the U.S., though, because it just wouldn't be cost-effective to try to mail out of the country for you or for me. So it would need to be somebody here in the U.S. So I guess you can probably tell I'm excited about this ink, even though it's so dark. And you know, if you know me, that I kind of like the bright. I like to be able to see, to still see the purple. So I go for Monteverde Purple Rain, which I didn't put on here because it's brighter. And Rohrer Klingner Cassia can be dark, but it can still show. But I did notice, you know, I'd like to go ahead and see it in a stub nib, and I definitely will do that. But I wanted to get this done. There was a lot of interest. But you can see more of the purple in the Tomoya River sample. So that's a good thing, I think. Okay, now that I've gone completely nuts, I do always like to tell my viewers what's next before I close. So what is next is definitely, the votes are in. Everybody, or well, maybe not everybody, but so many regular viewers who comment and subscribe said, yes, let's do this. Let's do the profiles on these individual Inkflight inks, even though they are specially formulated holiday blends done by Ink Journal, and we don't know yet whether we'll have recipes or whether we'll just sort of be given hints. We know that it's the platinum mix-free, I think it's called mix-free, that they used, but I don't know what the content is. But hey, it's still fun to compare them to other inks, and there'll be panels and there'll be writing samples. So we're going to do it because everybody wanted that, or lots of people wanted that. So, and then I've got other things that I've talked about. I really want to do the rickshaw hand roll review, and I've got a pouch review too. But it is the season. It's my birthday week, and it's going to be Christmas soon. But it's going to, that's my next thing, is the Inkflight. So I'll see you then for that. Oh dear, I think it's going to be another 20-minute video. And I'll sprinkle in those other reviews because there's been interest in those things too. And I just thank you for being here. And let me know if you were a backer, if you did this. This is the first time ever, but it was a really smooth experience, professionally handled. I didn't get nervous at all, really, when I saw that they kept updating us. And, you know, everything just looked so good. And, you know, even though it was somewhat of an impulse purchase to do this, I'm really happy because I like to learn about things like this. And to have missed this, I wouldn't want to miss this. This is just really cool. I can use this in my art. And I can, like I said, exchange samples with someone who might have the the other color that I was interested in. I just couldn't afford both of them. So, all right, I got to go. Okay, so I'll see you next time. Bye for now.